Imagine your house is on fire. The flames are eating the walls and your family is screaming for help. Suddenly a private fire brigade arrives, 500 strong men with water buckets. You feel relieved, you think you are saved. But they do not throw a single drop of water. Instead, their boss walks up to you with a smile and a contract. He says, "I will put out the fire, but only if you sell me your house right now for 1/10 of its value." If you say no, they will just stand there and watch it burn to ash. This sounds like a scene from a dystopian movie, but it was the daily reality of ancient Rome, and the man running this racket was Marcus Licinius Crassus. He is widely considered the richest man in Roman history. Some historians say his net worth would be over $20 billion today. But he didn't build a product and he didn't invent a technology. He invented something much darker: disaster capitalism. To understand Crassus, you have to look at the economy of Rome. In the 1st century BC, Rome was a crowded, dangerous city filled with tall wooden apartment buildings called insulae. They were poorly built and they caught fire all the time. Rome had no public fire department. Crassus saw this not as a tragedy, but as a business opportunity. He bought 500 skilled slaves who were architects and builders. Then he organized them into a military-style fire brigade. When a fire broke out, Crassus would arrive instantly. But he was not there to help. He was there to negotiate. He would offer to buy the burning building for pennies. He would even offer to buy the neighboring buildings that were in danger of catching fire. The desperate owners had no choice. They sold their property to save something rather than lose everything. As soon as the contract was signed, the slaves would put out the fire. Then they would rebuild the damaged parts instantly. Using this method, Crassus eventually owned a huge part of Rome. He was the ultimate slumlord. He rented these apartments back to the very people he had scammed. But real estate was just the foundation. Crassus knew that money was useless without power. And in Rome, power meant politics. But Crassus was not a charismatic speaker like Cicero. And he was not a military genius like Pompey. So he decided to buy the people who were. He became the bank for the ambitious politicians of Rome. One of his clients was a young broke aristocrat named Julius Caesar. Caesar had massive debts and plenty of enemies. He was about to be ruined. Crassus stepped in and paid off all of Caesar's debts. He financed Caesar's campaigns and his rise to power. In return, Caesar gave Crassus political protection and access to state contracts. Together with Pompey the general, they formed the first Triumvirate. 3 men who secretly ruled the Republic. Pompey had the soldiers, Caesar had the popularity, and Crassus had the gold. It was the perfect alliance of money, sword, and votes. But for Crassus, it was never enough. He suffered from a deep insecurity. He knew people respected Pompey and Caesar more than him. They saw him only as the money bag. He wanted military glory. He wanted a triumph. So at the age of 60, he decided to invade the Parthian Empire, which is modern-day Iran. It was a war based on ego, not strategy. It was a disaster. Crassus was a businessman, not a general. He marched his army into the open desert where they were slaughtered by Parthian archers. The death of Crassus is the stuff of legend. According to the historian Cassius Dio, the Parthians knew about his legendary greed. When they captured him alive or found his body, they decided to give him what he always wanted. They melted down gold, then poured it down his throat. They mocked him, saying, "Play the role of the rich man now." Whether this story is true or a myth, the message is clear. Crassus spent his life consuming gold, and, in the end, gold consumed him. His death broke the Triumvirate. Without Crassus to balance them, Caesar and Pompey went to war. The Roman Republic collapsed and the empire was born. So in a way, Crassus paid for the end of democracy. Today, we look at Crassus as a villain from history. But look around us. Do we not see disaster capitalism today? Hedge funds buying up houses after a mortgage crisis. Companies profiting from pandemics and wars. Lobbyists funding politicians to write laws that favor them. Crassus died 2,000 years ago, but his business model is very much alive. He taught us that when profit becomes the only moral compass, the society burns. And usually the guy holding the water bucket is the one who lit the match. If you want to understand the modern world, you have to understand the architects who built the foundation. Crassus was the first, but he was not the last. In our next video, we are going to fast forward to the Renaissance. We will meet the family that took Crassus's playbook and added religion to it. They didn't just buy politicians, they bought the Pope. Get ready for the Medici family. Subscribe to Hidden Logic so you do not miss the truth. See you in the next one.